You're watching Escape Adulthood Live, your number one source for long-lasting, fast-acting, physician-approved adultitis relief.
On this week's show, we're talking about flying kites with the kids, living life like Laura Ingalls Wilder, and why you shouldn't pine for the good old days.
Greetings and salutations.
Thank you for shenanigating with us tonight.
Great to be back.
Yes.
Didn't know if that would just be a one and done last week, but let's just do it again.
I know. And Mary is here already. Hi, Mary. Good to see you. Does anyone notice anything different about Jason this week versus last week?
I'm like,
buff.
I'm huge.
Well,
my
think
muscles
again.
are.
Try again.
Thank you for that vote of confidence.
Yes, this afternoon we literally did the Corona haircut, the Rona as they're calling it, I think.
Yeah,
and it was.
I took my life into my hands, folks.
He was freaking out.
I was.
So
holy nightmare.
Those of you who
holy nightmare.
Those of you who've already experienced this, you can kind of relate to the nervousness of a husband and wife trusting each other in this process. It took everything we had.
Yeah, it challenged our relationship to the core, but
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't have a mop on my head anymore, so that's all that matters.
Cut, Brian says. Hi, Brian. Oh, Shia says, nice haircut. Good to see you, Shia.
Thank you. So we wanted to talk a little bit tonight. We got a fun show and tell item to share. We were digging around in the archives, and Jenna, who has been working with us for years, uncovered something very interesting.
Yes, a little blast from the past.
So
here.
This is a box you can see, and hopefully you can see that there are ink splatters all over this. Now, what's interesting about this is that these ink splatters are custom ink splatters.
Oh, this is original.
So
art.
In the early days, our official corporate company name is Jaybird Ink. And it's Jaybird Ink because my dad used to call me Jaybird. And it's ink, and it's actually INK, because in the early days we were too poor to register for an actual INC incorporated.
Yes, that costs money.
So we just called it ink because I used ink. And then when you say it, it sounds wow, Jaybird Ink.
And he was doing comic strips with ink.
Yeah,
so,
with this
very
ink. And so I had the brilliant idea that since we were small, we could do personal touches. Yeah. And so all of our boxes that we shipped out, prints and greeting cards, had this funky design on it. And so this is something that turned out to be not scalable at all. This is great when you have one order a month. As we did back in those days.
Yeah.
But Jenna, who has been the person who's basically, some of you, if you've worked for a corporate job, you've have in your job description, it'll say something like other duties as assigned, sort of like all the other stuff that you just kind of have to do if it comes up. Yep. That's her whole job for us.
20 years.
It's changed many times. Yeah. So we thought it would be kind of cool to actually bring Jenna on. To say hi with us. Hey, Jenna.
Hi, Jenna.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good to see you.
Jenna is here. Like I said, Jenna has been with us for practically all 20 years of our business. We met her in college. She is currently filling many roles. Among them are Chief of Customer Wow. So if you've ever ordered anything from our online store, there's a good chance that she packaged it up. If you ever had a customer service challenge, she has been the one to take care of it. She's got her tape gun right there. She is also our chief evangelist, chief connector, chief...
Oh, Tara says lunch lady.
Everything. She, at the Escape Adulthood Summit, she has been a lunch lady. She does it all, folks. So thank you for being here, Jenna. What do you remember about these days? Were you like instantly regretting?
Be kind, Jenna. Be kind.
You're just like, why am I working for this guy?
No, I thought I was just like this really cool artist apprentice. I think my top job title at the time might have been Padawan, so we made it really nerdy. So that, and I got to handle the artist's ink, which was like, bring out the good stuff. And I remember worrying about getting the ink on the carpet because we were doing it in your apartment. And of course, years later, I dumped a giant cup of coffee on that carpet and ruined it anyway. So, all of those best laid plans at the time.
The carpet went through a lot in the time we were there, but yeah.
It did. That was good old days. I thought I was going to be the old part of the good old days. So I appreciate the call out. Yeah.
You're good. You're old, but you're also new. You're present time. So that's
right.
We're all older.
Okay.
Sheesh.
I own it. I own it.
Debbie Downer, right out of the gate. Sheesh. It's like she's like a fine wine.
Yes.
Speaking of old, I also brought some more show and tell items for you. We know a lot of our fans who have loved the calendar that you produced with all the cool new art. Well, I think I might have the original Cafe Press calendar here.
Old school.
Yeah, Kim and Jason characters. This says it was 2005. So 2005, a very good year. Yeah. And in that same time zone, I don't know if you can see.
Oh my gosh, Jenna. How is that still white, right?
It isn't. The lighting is it's very yellow, actually. Again, I think that might be a Cafe Press item from the trade show days, right?
Yes.
Our trade show uniform.
We had little button-down uniforms with khaki pants. We're
trying to be professional,
We were.
I know.
We were professional.
We did, especially with the buttons, a couple buttons.
In our van, remember the van? We had Kim's parents' van, and because it was a show, the Chicago show was in the summer, and we'd have the air conditioning running, but if you went too hard on a corner, water would come out onto your feet from the air conditioning. So those were good times as well.
Yeah. Those were the good old days. We could have used a covered wagon. It might have been
It might have been more reliable, but we got there. Right.
Let's see. What do we got? We got Kim Stanfill says, I started Fired Up in 2005. So it was a very good year. That's very cool.
Awesome.
Very good year.
Nicole Henning says, yes, it's a fave. The calendar rocks. Thank you. Yeah, that's one of our favorite things that people like. So, all right, Jenna. Well, we are definitely going to have you back because I know you've got a lot of other goodies that would be kind of fun to dig out of the archive. Some more embarrassing than others. But thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Have a good rest of the show, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Wow, what a blast from the past that is.
That shirt, oh my gosh. And how ironic, 2005 was the year that I quit teaching, and we jumped into this both full-time, which had that little airplane soaring, so I've never made that connection. That calendar was kind of like such a big
here we go.
leap for us. So very, very cool.
Yeah, well, tonight we want to talk about the good old days, because I'm sure there are times when you say, man, remember those good old days 2 months ago?
February.
When things were better. And maybe you find yourself saying, I can't wait until, right? Things will be so much better when. Things will be so much easier when. Well, I want to challenge you on that, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, a word from our sponsor.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Yes, we have something pretty exciting coming to an end here.
Yes. So if you remember last week, we announced that we were having a special auction of gallery canvases.
Yes.
I think about 15 of them, and they all started at $5.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are at $5, but many of them are still a very good deal, including this one right here. This is called Cherry on Top. And yeah, we have about a day left.
Like 24 hours.
To be able to take advantage of that. So get your bids in.
It's going to be exciting tomorrow night around 7 o'clock.
I know, it's going to be hot. It's been pretty steady the whole time.
Yeah.
It's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these we do not sell on our current store. Some of these are going to be a little bit hard to get rid of, but they're cool. And if you go to escapeadulthood.com/auction, that is the place to check out everything that is currently up for bid. Yes, it ends tomorrow, meaning Thursday at 7:45 p.m. Central Time. So that's is there anything more to say about that?
No,
other than make this happen? You get your bid and make it happen.
So let's talk about the good old days.
Yes, let's talk about the good old days.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, You could miss it.
So I want to talk about the good old days. This painting basically is a reminder about what the good old days are all about and to challenge our normal assumptions on them. What I want to start out talking about is a remote control. This remote control, we've had this in the family for many years, and a few years ago I was having frustration because the power button was not working. It was on the fritz. And I had a few suspicions of who was responsible for this. I was pegging my daughter, Virginia. She was 2 at the time. I have no proof that she was the culprit. However, she was walking around with it a lot, and there's only one red button in a sea of black buttons. Anyone who's ever had a toddler knows that is just like finger gold to touch, right? And so I was frustrated, and I had this sort of like refrain that I think a lot of parents have, right? You've heard this, like, this is why we can't have nice stuff, right? I'm like, can't have nice stuff. As soon as we have the kids in the house, everything goes to hell. Everything's broken, right? It's terrible. Well, in a semi-related note, around this time, we got into watching Little House on the Prairie. My oldest daughter, Lucy, had been watching reading all the books with Godmom Jenna. Yes, that Jenna. She's also Godmom of Lucy. We had been watching the show, and I got to tell you, Little House on the Prairie, they do not make shows like that anymore. Michael Landon is a national treasure. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. So when we were going on tour for the Penguins Can't Fly book, this is the Not a Rule tour, we were up in South Dakota, and one of the things that we learned about is in DeSmet, South Dakota, or North Dakota, I should say. I think it was North Dakota. Yeah, North Dakota. One of the Dakotas, I don't remember. DeSmet. I know, I'm totally second guessing. But they had one of the actual homesteads from Laura Ingalls Wilder and her family. And so we're like, we gotta check that out. It was perfect. And so we did. And one of the highlights was we got to stay overnight in a covered wagon. This little homestead became our homestead for the night. And I gotta tell you, it was the worst night's sleep I've ever had in my entire life. It's terrible. However, I realized that we had it good. We had electricity in that thing. Compared to the early settlers, they did not have that. But we learned a lot of things on this trip. We learned that these covered wagons were not comfortable. They had wooden wheels, no shocks, no struts, no satellite radio. Took them all day to go 15 minutes, right? Then the kids got to play around with a lot of different things. They got to learn how to wash their own clothes by hand. We learned that everyone had to make their own soap back in those days, right? No supermarkets, no place to go buy food, no place to go, stock up on Doritos, none of that. Had to make their own soap, had to hang their own clothes, dry them on the line. Kids loved this. We got a chance to make toys, dolls, like, I don't even know. This is a corncob doll. I think calling it a doll is a little loose with the lingo. There was no face, no limbs, no karate chop action. But this was how it was. And so then we saw there was a homestead that was like cut out. I forget what it's called, like a dugout or something like that. And it was cut out of the side of a hill. This is where they had to spend part of their life before they were able to build their actual house. And it was basically just like a hole cut into the side of a hill with makeshift walls, one window, one little stove. We found out that they had one winter, they only had bread every single day. And again, this was not butternut bread from the store. They had to grind the flour by hand. They had to make and bake the bread, and they had no butter. No butter. Like, seriously, are you kidding me? Right now, and finally, I don't know. You have to fact check me on this, but I don't think they had Amazon Prime either. I am like mad that I have Amazon Prime and it's taking me 3 days to get stuff instead of 2. They had none of this stuff. So it's an interesting thing to think about. But I want you to think about this too. If you make $5,000 as a household, you are in the top 50% in the entire world. It's pretty interesting, right? Now, if you happen to make $50,000 or more in a household, you're in the top 0.5%. That blows my mind, right? Now, yes, cost of living is different scenarios, different situations we find ourselves in, but that's still pretty amazing to think about. And if you think about what Laura and Pa and Ma and they had to go through in their days that was just normal, the stuff that we take for granted, coming out of that little vacation, if you can call it a vacation, all of a sudden, me worrying about my little remote control was put right back into perspective, that this little luxury I take for granted, not that big of a deal at all, right? So what's cool about it is we live in a time now, yes, even amidst the coronavirus, where Oregon Trail is a fun computer game, not a harrowing months-long journey filled with danger and dysentery, right? So let me ask you some questions. Are you alive? Looks like there's a bunch of people online right now who are currently alive, right? Do you have a job? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have something to eat today? Do you have clothes to wear? A pair of shoes? A computer or a smartphone? Someone who loves you? A dream in your heart? Now, there may be some people watching that can't say yes to every single one of those questions, but I'm betting you can say yes to most of them, at least half, right? If you think about it, no matter how difficult our life is right now and how uncertain things are and how anxious we are about what's next, it's not that bad. We actually have it pretty good. Everything else is a cherry on top. So let me ask you about one more thing. You know how you'll often hear people say, man, those were the good old days, right? They reminisce back to their high school days or their early days before they had kids, when they were dating, whatever. Those were the good old days. Why doesn't anyone ever say these are the good old days? Why is that not a thing? I don't know. But if you think about it, maybe these are the good old days. There are opportunities in front of you right now that you won't have a year from now. There are people in your life right now that might not be here next year. It's easy to get caught up in thinking life will be better when. I know when Kim and I first started this adventure of parenthood, and you're going through those early days with the little one, and it's rough stuff. I mean, talk about bad night's sleep. Those were some of the worst. And it's easy to think, things will be so much better when they sleep through the night. Things will be so much easier when they don't have to change. I don't have to change their diapers anymore. So much easier when they can feed themselves, right? And we get caught in that. And it's not just for parents. It's not just for kids. We do it all the time. When we're in school, I can't wait. It'll be so much better when I finally graduate from school, when summer break hits and I get vacation, right? All of a sudden, there's a lot of kids on early summer vacation who are missing their friends and what they had at school. Right? We think about that when I graduate, when I get my first job, I can finally get out of school, stop taking tests. Things will be so much better then. When you're with your sweetheart dating, thinking, they'll be so much better when we can get married. We don't have to live under our parents' house anymore and live by their rules. And then you get married and you think, man, it'll be so much better when we have kids. It'll just make our life so much more complete if we could ever have children. And then you go to a certain level and you're like, man, it'll be so much better when the kids leave the house. It'll be so much easier. My grocery bill will go down. We do this all the time, and this is one of adultitis' best tricks, is to get us living in the future, to get us thinking about how things will be better when, someday. And in the meantime, while we're focused on things getting better someday, we're missing out on today. We're missing the opportunities right in front of us. I don't think we need to spend any time thinking about the good old days. These are the good old days right now. The opportunities we have in front of us, the chances to hang out with the people that we love. Man, this is a good time to be alive. It may not seem like it, but it really is. And so my prescription this week is to give you the challenge. Can you make a list of 10 things that you take for granted that Laura Ingalls Wilder never had? Maybe it's a remote frickin' control, right? That would work. Make a list of 10 things. I'd love to see what your 10 things are. It could be anything, of course. You could probably think of 100. But I think the message for tonight is to relish the fact that you right now are living in the good old days. And at the very least, be grateful that you don't have to make your own shampoo.
Although your hair is short enough now, that doesn't matter. Do you usually use shampoo?
I do. And conditioner. It's like an exercise in futility all the time.
What a waste of conditioner, right?
Oh, let's see.
So, thank you for sharing all that. I know there's some really cool comments coming in.
We've got Helen, plumbing. Grateful for plumbing.
Oh, yeah. Let
me get that off. What else? Love this challenge. Thank you, Leah. Brian says smart TV. Yep. Also, he says the iPhone. Mm-hmm. What other ones we got up here? Did you see some other ones?
Well, Tara said that someday is not a day of the week, which I thought was a really profound.
Someday isn't a day of the week. Yes, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. And Barb said, when you list off those things, do you have this? Do you have that? Those questions. Mm-hmm. She said, yes, and so many more yeses.
Yes.
So that was kind of a neat perspective, Barb.
We need to become more present on a day-to-day basis, coronavirus or not. Mm-hmm. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I think is something that we can't be reminded enough about is the opportunities we take for granted amidst all of the difficulties. It's not to say that it isn't difficult at times and that the uncertainty doesn't weigh on us, but it also is true that we have a heck of a lot of things to be grateful for. Things that I think if Laura Ingalls came back and be like, you guys are babies, right? We're like, what is your problem?
We have to sit on the couch for 6 or 8 or 12 weeks or whatever it will be, So before we go any further, let's say this. Our show is about halfway done right now. If you're enjoying this, would you share this on Facebook? I know there's a way to do it. I don't know, but just
right
share,
under the thing, just push the share button.
That just kind of brings new eyes, and it's kind of a neat serendipitous thing to see who, finds their way here. So we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And for those of you who have not already become an insider, which is our group of merry band of Adultitis Fighters.
Sunday morning emails from Jason.
I invite you to do that, and especially because this week I have created a coloring sheet of this very image, and it is free for Escape Adulthood Insiders. All you have to do is go to escapeadulthood.com/insider to subscribe. You will get an email that gives you instructions for accessing the Adultitis Fighter Arsenal. And if you're already an insider, just go to any past issue. And at the very bottom, there is a link to the arsenal with the password to get access.
There's so much stuff in there, you guys. Ebooks and coloring sheets and graphical things too, like wallpapers, and the calendar from last week, the May calendar with the weeds and wishes.
Yep.
So many cool things.
Yeah. Anything else about that? I don't think so. I think that we're good. Let me get that off. And I wanted to talk about something fun that we did this week. It was beautiful day. We had
Sunday.
Weird.
The weekend was amazing in Wisconsin.
What has the weather been like where you are right now? Is it we're coming from all over parts of the world. In Wisconsin, it has been. I guess it's a typical spring. Yeah, it's like it's all here. It's not here. It's here. It's not here.
And there's a snowflake on
and it's
one of the days coming up on the icons. But on Sunday we went for a little picnic after our little church service, and we did a hike, and then on our picnic, we realized how windy it was. And we all kind of had this light bulb moment.
What wind's good for.
Yes. So this is what we did.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. I see you broken and beat, head pulled down over your eyes. Every part of you wants to surrender, darling, you were meant to survive. With every star, we are born again. Open
epic day.
That was an epic day.
And it was an hour, honestly. So it's like, it looks like it was this big thing. And it was just a spontaneous idea on our picnic because our food was blowing away. And we're like, well, when your food blows away, it's time to fly a kite.
Yes.
Right?
Kim says, I was kite flying too. She now is 6. I know. I remember she talked about she always keeps at least 1, maybe 6 now in her glove compartment, I believe. Because you need a kite when you never have it. So the extra bonus tip of the day, buy a kite, put it in your glove compartment or in your trunk so you're never kiteless. That's the worst sin you can commit as an adultitis fighter is being kiteless.
Did you guys notice Ben's confidence? Okay, his kite was probably the best quality kite out of the 3. And you could see the joy just emanating, and he's like tipping his hat and he's doing these little like moves, and we're like, this is so cool. So it was pretty remarkable and memorable for sure. Yeah,
kids were pretty excited. They were so eager to get running with it. I'm like, we don't even have it untied yet. Just give it some time. So they were so eager. Let's see. Brian wants to know, where was Mary Poppins? Yeah, she would have been jealous, I'll tell you. Yeah. Barb says, get yourself some stunt kites and you'll be in for a real trip. Actually, that reminds me of a time my friend Scott Ginsberg, some of you may remember him, the name tag guy, he came over. We spent a day together in Milwaukee, and it was a windy day, and we bought kites, and we bought like really expensive like trick kites. We didn't know what we were doing.
It was over your head, wasn't it?
It just kept like going around and around and around and around. That was all it was. It was hilarious. Yeah. There's a problem here. I don't think it's me. So I don't know. Is anyone here interested in a little drawing lesson tonight? Anybody up for some?
Amy Payne was getting her markers ready.
Anybody up for some drawing? I think we should do that. Okay, here we go. I've got a new thing to draw today, and hopefully, if you're able, you can draw along. Of course, if you want to watch the replay later and go step by step, this is sort of like my Bob Ross moment. So what we're going to do today is we're going to draw a version of this painting behind me, but we're going to make it a little bit more whimsical. So one of the things that I like to do most of the time is I like to start out with a pencil drawing. One of the things that really makes my skin crawl is when my kids draw something, and this is a normal thing for kids, so I don't correct them because they'll figure it out eventually, but they draw their thing like hard. Like every line is so hard, and then they get mad because that line doesn't look right. So my trick, if you can call it a trick, it's basically just like I'm older than 5 years old, but it helps to be reminded, is that you can start out with a really light line drawing. So I'm using a real light color here, almost as if I had just a pencil, and I'm going to draw a triangle. Okay, so again, this is designed so that you can follow along, and it doesn't have to be that hard. Now, we want to have this triangle be our mountain, and we want this mountain to have a cherry on it. So what we need to do is we need to take our eraser, and I'm just going to erase off the top part, okay? And then I'm just going to draw a line. Now, if you want to just draw this shape at the beginning, you can. I'm really just making it so this is really step by step. Okay, now about a middle of the way in, I'm going to just draw some jagged parts here, right? There's our snow part. Now I'm going to, I realized last week I used a green background so that the white would show up. And I realized it's not like people have green paper laying around. So I started with white, and I'm going to pretend that I have markers. Of course, I have, this is an iPad. I have to see if I can find where the marker is.
Is this a program that people can buy?
This is called Procreate. And yes, it's for the iPads. There it is, my marker. And this is what my favorite thing in the world is to use this. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get you know what? And now I was going to use gray, but gray is such a normal, boring color. So you always hear about the Purple Mountain Majesties, right? So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to color this part in.
You're not going to like ruin it like last time?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Mean,
I know,
right?
that was kind of mean.
Yeah.
Didn't really think that through.
Before you started the purple, I thought it was like the Flintstones outfit or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a little bit of Charlie Brown's shirt.
Yeah, or yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
So I like how this is actually making it seem like a marker where it's giving me the see-through thing. Okay.
Yeah, Barb asks Procreate. You're right, Barb.
Yes.
It is Procreate.
Procreate.
It's an app?
It's an app
Okay.
on iPad. It doesn't. There's not a desktop version. Okay, so there's my Purple Mountain Majesty. Now I'm going to go back to my pencil. I should have done this at the beginning, but I wasn't paying attention. And you just draw a little circle. Again, it's a cherry, so it doesn't have to be a perfect circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to draw a little stem in here. Just like that, right? Now, the fun part, get to color in the cherry, get my marker back, wherever that was.
I see Amy Payne is here, so I'm sure you're using those new markers. Is there anything better than new markers?
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
Right?
Okay, so of course we got to... Now, okay, here's a little pro tip. For the cherry, now, again, I'm using markers. If I was using paint, different media has different properties, so I would do this in a different way if I did paint. But because I have a marker, and you can't do anything over marker, a lighter color over marker very easily, leave a little, just draw a little... That's actually a little bit bigger than I want, but leave a little mark there. Well, that's way too small. And color in your cherry, but leave that little spot as your highlight. It's like shiny, right?
Yep, it's right up there.
And then I'm gonna get my color green. We all know how to do the coloring in, right? It's basically all you're doing. Color in my stem. Okay. Now here is the fun part. Is the sprinkles. No self-respecting mountain is without sprinkles. So sprinkles, just like they're little dashes, right? These are like the funnest things to draw and the best part. And of course, you have to have different colors. So I'm going to do orange. Of course, Kim, you'll let me know if anyone has any questions or things that I can address.
Kim Stanfield McMillan was reminiscing when we gave out the boxes of 64 crayons to all the Escape Adulthood Summit folks at the end. That was epic, right?
Yeah.
I was just talking about that today in my Wednesday post on the Escape Adulthood League. So we'll have to talk about that,
Yeah, that was pretty rad when we did that. It was a little... Because there's no better smell than a fresh box of crayons, right?
And then the sharpener in the back of the 64 box. I mean, come on.
Okay, so I got my sprinkles in, and of course that is your artistic licenses. Do whatever colors you want. So you could also do like little dots, make them, what do they call they call these jimmies?
Yeah, these are jimmies.
These are jimmies.
Yeah, officially.
Sprinkles, are they the like actual little balls and dots? Like, so
yeah, that is kind of confusing, but these are called jimmies.
We try to keep it legit on the show.
We're pretty well versed in our sprinkle names.
Now, this is the part that I like is the part where then you can take your black marker and you can do your outline here, and you can clean it up, and you can smooth out those rough edges, and go over your lines here.
Leah says her 3-year-old wants to eat this now.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It is kind of making me.
That's a pretty good compliment, though, right?
Yeah.
So I want to go a little bit heavier.
The picture. Not
I'm
the
all
crayons.
like trying to be perfection here. But what is the rule? It's not about there are only happy accidents, right? No mistakes.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about Procreate is that you can undo if you mess it up. Okay. So now it's just a little bit cleaner, right?
Yeah, that looks cool.
But now here's my favorite part is you got to give this guy a little face, 2 little dots, and a little smile in between. And then, why not?
Jason has a very distinct smile. Have you guys noticed this? The eyes are outside the width of the smile. I think a traditional smile is the eyes are within the smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
now,
that is something very distinct that you do.
Here's a fun thing you can also do. I said you can't really go over mark with a lighter color, but what you can do sometimes is if you have colored pencils, and you can do a lighter colored pencil over it. And so what I'll do is a little trick here. Let's say I have my pencil, here we go, And I'll do a little line at the bottom. And a little, just like halfway around. And see how it gives it a little bit of depth? Yeah. It looks like it's sort of like embossed. And so that's a trick of doing that. And putting it at the bottom shows that the light is hitting that bottom ledge. And so it makes that those eyes and the mouth stand out. So there we go. It's a little drawing. I am anxious to see what you guys come up with. I forgot we have some last week.
Yes, it was so cool. And
we have some people that shared a few things. So Tara, this is her Weeds and Wishes. It looks like it was like a ballpoint pen on a little paper, but she nailed it.
Right.
And Kristen Chang did one on a Post-it note. I love that idea of like every week doing a Post-it note, and then you make a gallery out of it. And then Helen, she actually went out and did it in a driveway out on the sidewalk or something.
Which was kind of our original idea.
Did this this whole thing on. Hers were way more detailed than mine. Those leaves, those look pretty rad. So
this could work for sidewalk chalk with all the different colors of sprinkles.
Yeah, it would be really fun. So if I were doing sidewalk chalk, the white would be really easy to do. Yeah, you could totally do this in sidewalk chalk and put the little highlight in the cherry and stuff like that. So fun
Thanks
stuff.
for sending those in, you guys. And please feel free to share yours from this week, because maybe we'll highlight it next week. As always, we love taking you behind the scenes into Jason's studio. Like I said last week, we're on like the 111th studio sneak peek now. So you can go to our YouTube channel and check out all of them if you want to see some old school art that he's been doing. But yeah, this week Jason was working on a new painting that I don't believe we've shared much of at all.
I don't think so.
So let's take a look and see what he's working on. All right, I am back in the studio, and I have to say it is a beautiful spring day here, May 1st, May Day, and spring is popping here in Wisconsin, which is why I'm a little confused at what I see on the drafting table. Jason's brand new painting. I don't know if you can kind of see over his shoulder here. This does not remind me of spring in Wisconsin.
Oh, this is a typical Wisconsin scene that you would see anywhere here. Typical flora and fauna of Wisconsin. So, this is...
now, where did this come from? Why are you doing a cactus?
Well, anytime I am in my sketchbook trying to come up with ideas for paintings, I like to look at old travel photos from cool places that I've been back in the day when you could get on a plane and travel places.
That was allowed?
Yeah, it's awesome. I'll have to tell you about it sometime. It's good times. And this particular painting in this picture comes from Arizona. I was in speaking about a year ago for the Department of Energy, Office of Inspectors General.
Wow.
Or Inspector Generals, I don't know. But it was in Arizona, and I had a free day to go to the Saguaro National Park. And so I took this photo, and, it was such a cool landscape. Of course, one that's pretty normal to people who live there, but for me, it was brand new, almost like an alien landscape. So I just loved taking pictures. So I was going through that. And that's one of the things about, this painting that might be kind of interesting is that it's actually an amalgamation of different photos. So this photo here that I'm using as reference is one that I actually took. But because of the concept of this theme, and when I was there in January, and so this is what it looked like. There were no flowers popping yet.
Okay.
And so I was able to go online and find an example of a flower so that I could merge those things together. And because of, we're going through this crisis, I wanted to have this sort of sense of dread. And so I wanted to make, you look back here, this is pretty normal sky. It's a little overcast, but it made me think like I needed to be even more dramatic. So there was another picture that I took while I was there of a big expanse of sky, and it had that darkness that was a part of it. And then what I did is I took that photo and I cropped it into a square, and I added, adjusted the levels, adjusted the saturation, added more darkness to make it even more dramatic.
Okay.
So what you see here is basically a combination of several reference photos to create the mood that I wanted. And then the last part of this that I'm working on now is now that I have all this reference of reality, is as an artist, the goal is to move beyond reality, to create the mood and the emotion that I'm looking for. So it might not show up very well in the video here, but I'm adding more purples, I'm adding more colors in, I'm making choices that suit the painting itself, even if it's not exactly what matches the photograph. So
wow, I had no idea that you had that much going on in my brain.
You don't want to be up in my head. That's,
I knew that for sure, but that's awesome.
One more example of that.
Thanks. There you go. I mean, how much is left of this, do you think?
I've got, I don't know. It's hard to say.
The last.
It's getting close.
How do you know when it's finished?
Oh, I like that smell. Right. That good oil paint smell.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's toxic. I've got the little bit more. The sky is done. There's a little bit more on the cactuses in there. I'm starting to do the little prickly things. So it's pretty close. But and then the flower will be last. So that's just pink underpainting right now, and I'm looking forward to that the most, because I'm really gonna spend some time on that.
So something that many people don't know is that Jason's paternal grandmother, Virginia, who our Ginny is named after, was an amazing artist. Okay, so the whole hereditary talent kind of thing. And I remember you saying early on in our relationship that, you never would do a landscape. That's what Grandma Kay would do, but you would never do that. So it's kind of interesting how things evolve and change, and here you are doing Arizona deserts.
Yeah, and the thing I've noticed that's kind of interesting is I really like doing skies, and I realize that skies are like personalities. And so I used to do portraits all the time, and I was a portrait painter, and I like that because I like to convey their personality. And I've now realized that although I used to think I hated landscapes, what I love is creating personality and pulling that personality of a given sky out, finding the right, because like I talked about in the video, the paintings are sometimes a mashup of multiple photographs. So I can look for just the right sky, and I'll spend an hour looking for like just the right personality for this painting. And so in this case, I'm obviously, a lot of my work right now is coronavirus inspired, influenced.
Corona work.
And so this idea of these dark, cloudy, foreboding skies are kind of appropriate for right now.
It's going to stand out and pop, right?
It's gonna pop, yeah.
It sounds very Wonder Huntish to me, all that you're saying.
Yeah, a little bit, right? A little bit of that Wonder.
On our walk the other day, I was telling the family that I have never been into skies until Wonder Hunt, because of the posts that people share, and they share clouds and they share skies, and they tell their stories of what they see in these skies. And now I'm totally fascinated with this whole new inspiration of the sky and what is up there changing all the time. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Kimberly says, how long does a painting like that take you? That's a good question. That's one I get a lot. This one I've been doing them a lot smaller. Like this is a smaller size than I've done in the last few years, because I have so many ideas. I just want to get them out. There's a sea turtle right now that I've been working on for months, and it's
humongous.
Kicking my butt. So I would say this one is probably 10 hours so far. Maybe it'll probably be 12 hours by the time it's all over. Sometimes they're a little bit less, but yeah, it just depends on how complicated it is, how much time I want to spend on it, how many details there are, things like that.
Jody Jensen shared earlier that she's enjoying your new direction of art. So that's pretty cool. And in fact, I'm thinking back, Jody, when you and Tom were at the summit, to all the animal art, right? So obviously the sea turtle is animal, but the last couple pieces you've been making are not animals.
No, except for that bear. Bear, but yeah, it's
not these.
It's much less
animals.
about the bear, though,
in
a lot of ways.
The studio is filled with huge animals, So there is an interesting turn to scenery and landscape for sure.
Yeah. So okay, so it's time to shine some light. Well, first I have a question.
Are you guys having a killer time?
Are you guys having a killer time? Is that Napoleon Dynamite?
Napoleon Dynamite there. Bring that one in.
I want to hear that again. Let's hear him.
Are you guys having a killer time?
my gosh. I love
Classic.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Sweet.
Sweet. All right, let's do this.
We are constantly inspired by our Adultitis Fighters. You guys out there in the world, ridding the world of adultitis.
We have some cool things to share from our fellow adultitis. What's that?
You're out of frame.
Oh,
there, mister.
What? We have really cool things to share with you guys.
We're getting
Scooch
used to
my
this
cheeks
middle
over.
photo thing.
Yeah, it's weird when you got two people.
So Jennifer Bacon posted this week. This is her son. And he is definitely an adultitis fighter out walking the dog. I mean, I wish I would see this out my window, right? I mean, I want to see this T-Rex.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
I know. That oh, what a great sight that would be, right? I love that.
I know. And I kind of need to own one of these. I'm kind of coming to that conclusion as well. Because mowing the lawn, all these things, right?
Yes. Here's what I want to know. Put this in the comments. What would be the coolest activity that you would love to see someone wearing a T-Rex costume doing? I'd love to hear, because I love the mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Is a no-brainer.
Pushing a baby stroller. Right?
What I want to know is does her son have like a doggy bag? I don't know if I can see that in there or not.
Or is it like, not today.
That has got to be a
today.
trip, right? Boy.
I'll have to ask Lucy about that with her
Yes.
dog walking experience. And then, of course, Kim Suba, who we popped up her comment earlier. Kim, we go way back with Kim, back to the high school years, right? And she is now Miss Suba. She is our representing teacher this week for Teacher Appreciation Week. I mean, can we even wrap our brains around what teachers have been doing, what parents have been doing as new, home teachers? It's
Holy nightmare.
yeah, yeah, right. So this is something that Adultitis Fighter Kim has been doing. She made herself into a little flat Miss Suba, like flat Stanley, and hand delivered them in her mask to all of her students. And now her students get to take pictures of Miss Suba out in the world or in their home so that they can just feel connected to one another and laugh and see what each other is doing. And what a really unique and fun way to add playfulness into the curriculum and just to kind of keep everybody connected. So thank you,
Super
Kim.
cool.
Thank you for being a light. And thank you to all the teachers and parents serving right now. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it looks like as far as our T-Rex, Leah, grocery shopping.
Ah, yes.
Barb, barbecuing. Amy, delivering packages. Sue, running. Yes,
But this
agreed,
would alleviate the mask, right?
I don't
Just
know if
wear
this is the same.
and you don't need a mask.
Pediatrician, if that is answering the same question, I don't know. Yeah, mask included. I love it.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you, Kim, for your example. We love you. So it's awesome. And then we heard from Sarah Mertz, who is a alumni of our Escape Adulthood Summit. She is a teacher, and she is a part of a really cool charter school up in the middle part of Wisconsin. Every day during the school year, they would use the Celebrate Everything calendar, the calendar we kind of been talking about, to look at today's celebration, and then they would talk about Jason's artwork and what inspired them about it and what inspires them about this holiday. Well, of course, when life changed, 8 weeks ago, and they weren't able to meet every morning, they started to share the celebration with each of the students and their families. So now you have families doing this and families celebrating the day, which is what the calendar is all about. So they've been able to kind of keep that tradition going in a new way, virtually. So
that's what I'm talking about.
That is what I'm talking
Is that
about.
Kip?
That's Kip. And last but not least,
oh my gosh, Kristen, okay. Her and her family have been entertaining the internet every week for the last several weeks with their themed dinner parties, okay? So this happened, and this is the backstory. You don't even know this story yet.
News to me.
Their college-age daughter, who we actually know from a long time ago, from a Cartoon Network shop. I mean, Lauren, she came home from school, and they're all living together now again. And they kind of found that their dinners were having the same kind of conversation. They were kind of having the Groundhog's Day effect. Have you guys experienced this? Where, like, how can you talk about the same thing? How was your Skype call? How was your virtual call in class and work? And they were hanging
in there,
right?
Holding up.
So, because Kristen likes to cook, she's like, why don't we have a dinner party this Saturday night? And why don't we have it be a theme? And so they have started this, and they've been doing it every Saturday night. They literally toss a dice at the end of it to see who's in charge of next week's. And it's everything from the menu. They do RSVPs. They do costumes. They do music, the theme of the food. So we have, of course, the 70s right there. They also did the Olympics, which check out, she said her husband made that from like a bush.
Laurel wreath there. That's pretty awesome. I like the toga. It's
right?
Nice.
I know, that's old school. And then they had Christmas, which their daughter is like Cindy Lou Who, which is really adorable from The Grinch, right? Mm. You remember her? And then, of course, the classic Roaring 20s, which I think a lot of people
celebrated. This one takes a little bit more thought to nail it.
They had to be pretty creative with what they have lying around the house. So that's kind of neat to see what everybody comes up with. And then, of course, the 80s, which is so fun. If you look at that, the pink shirt with the fanny pack.
Yeah, right? There was another picture they sent us of the two ladies with their jean jackets, like showing off the jean jackets, like totally, very Tiffany of them. So
I mean, come on, Kristen's been doing Wonder Hunt with us. I just love her take on life. But thank you for your example. Thank you for being a light out there for all of us to see. We appreciate it.
Yes. So Lisa asks, how do you turn your adultitis fighting stories? Again, KJ. Like Kim Jason at escapeadulthood.com is one way to make that happen. If you'd like to hang out with other like-minded adultitis fighters, go to escapeadulthood.me. It's a free community. It's the Escape Adulthood League, and it's sort of like a social network that is free from all of the politics and poison that we often find on other social networks. But it's a cool place to hang out and connect with one another and have fun and share cool ideas. So hope you can join us for that. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask before we close up shop is I would love for those of you who are here to share in the comments, what is your biggest takeaway from today's episode? We love to hear what value you're getting out of this show. We hope it's been fun. Our whole goal here is to try to give you something that is inspiring and entertaining and encouraging for not only these times, but all times as we fight adultitis. So love to hear what your big takeaway was from the show.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like Brian Colgan is thinking your shirt is kind of like a toad from Mario Brothers.
Your shirt looks like a toad from Mario Brothers. It does a little bit. It's actually a brand named Johnny Cupcakes. So Brian's thing will go off in a second here. There we go. So yeah, Johnny Cupcakes. And if you see on my apron, I also have a Johnny Cupcakes pin, but this one has sprinkles on it.
Can you guys see that has sprinkles all over it, or is that like hard to tell?
Felt appropriate for it, so I thought that would be good.
Jimmy's.
Yes. Yeah.
We got the Jimmy's. Yes.
Jimmy's.
That's what I'm talking about.
I meant to do this for Kristen. That was a good one. Okay, so let's give something away. Last week, this is the bonus for being here live. Last week, we gave away a print of the Weeds and Wishes thing. The winner, we decided we would announce this week. Yeah. And so the winner is
Barb Radonis. And she's here.
Barb.
And she just commented, Barb. So yes, you will be winning the Weeds or Wishes artwork.
This is what you get. This is what you get for being here live, is a chance to win stuff. And so we're doing it again.
Yeah.
You can win.
Did you guess it? Did you?
Shocker.
Predictable.
Shocker. This is a 11 by 14 print of Cherry on Top. Mm-hmm. I just love how this one turned out.
Yeah,
I like
the greens are really rich, and then of course the sprinkles,
the
kind of
shadows
pop,
on the mountain,
the
stuff like this.
whimsy, right?
So, how do you win this, Kim?
Let me think. I don't even know. How do I?
I will tell you.
Okay. I'm like, did I know that?
I didn't know if you'd come prepared or not.
Why don't you just tell me how you win this?
How you win this is if you leave a comment right now. You have to be live. You have to be watching this live to be able to win this. If you leave a comment of what is your favorite ice cream topping,
Yes.
favorite ice cream topping,
Mhm.
we're gonna pick one random winner. You just got to put it in the comments right now. So this one will be given away. We'll announce the winner next week. By the way, if you liked that story I told earlier about going to the Little House on the Prairie homestead and talking about the good old days, that story is actually in this book, A Chance of Awesome, which we've said this before, but it feels like it was written for a time like this. I had no idea coronavirus was coming, but this book is all about changing the way you see and how changing your perspective can change everything. So,
And we do have an interesting shipment coming tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we're gonna have to have a video of that. So we've got a semi truck coming to our house. Our house, people, a semi truck
with a few thousand
with
books.
pallets and pallets of books because we sold out. We sold out of the first run. So I thought that would last us much longer.
The
than we did.
neighbors will start talking because there is something about a semi coming down the neighborhood that does get people's attention, and I'm pretty sure it's illegal, but we're not going to think about that.
Sure, it's fine. Last time the semi driver put a divot in the road because the pallet was so heavy.
Yeah.
And they had just, to be fair, they had just put blacktop on the road.
I'm sure
and
that's
it was still kind of fresh,
yeah,
and so there's a big divot in there because of that. So that's going to be an adventure tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't know how that's going to go. But, leave us your favorite ice cream topping per chance to win the print this week.
Lots of toppings coming in here.
Caramel.
Caramel.
What do we got?
Butterfinger crumbs. Ooh, Mike, yeah.
Caramel.
Butterfinger on ice cream, right?
Chocolate.
Cherry.
Caramel.
Hot
Hershey's
fudge.
chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Hershey's chocolate. What do we got here? Oops, I just did that one. Peanut butter and chocolate.
Ooh, yes. Such a simple combination of awesome.
Classic
right?
hot fudge. Can't go there. Go wrong there. Cherry. It's all good.
I saw someone put books, and I was like, books on ice cream? I'm like, oh, books. We were talking about books. Yay.
Yes, we were. Yay, more books. Yes, that's exactly how we feel about it as well. More books.
Aww.
All right. Well, thank you for being
fun.
with us tonight, you guys. That is it for this show. Until next time, Adultitis Fighters.
Shine on, spread whimsy, and be awesome.